Hi, darlings. Welcome back. I wanted to show you my eye makeup, but girl, I have horrible eyesight. So I think you can see a little, you can see a bit of my makeup. So today I want to talk about these two main characters, South Africa and Nigeria. And I'm going to try my best to not be biased because I am South African, but I will try my best not to skew things in my favor. But guys, we have to talk about this. Why is Nigeria and South Africa, like, why are they so toxic online? Like, why are we so toxic? And I want to share my opinion today. And before I share my opinion, we are going to watch a few videos, and then after, I will give my opinion on why I think these two countries go, guys, near border. You're always fighting online. So before we do that, let's get to the video and then I will share my opinion.
A Nigerian
I
man
say,
can
Olga.
be.
I have a question.
Do you understand?
I think it seems transactional, and it goes back to the conversation we had. From different conversations I've had with different groups of people, Nigerian men make South African women seem like more promiscuous and just loose, and deem Nigerian women as these. They don't
Gods
just
of
have
culture.
sex. Yeah, they're well put together. They don't have sex with
Can I say
anyone and
something?
everyone.
It's because
What is that
the
from?
Nigerian woman behaves like a Nigerian man. They're not going to allow a man to just sleep with them because, I'm going to give you
But is
10K,
that
20K,
actually
30K.
true? No,
The
besides
Nigerian
removing
woman,
money, I'm
the
removing
Nigerian
money.
woman
Removing
will
money from
make
it.
you sweat. You're going to work for it. You're going to
Yeah.
earn it.
Yeah.
You will not just sleep
You
with a
can
Nigerian woman.
date-
You're going to
you can
earn
date
for
for
it.
months.
That's why it's easy for them
Before
to go
you
for the
can
South African
even-
woman
Are we
because the
right?
South African
So
woman
are we
wants the
loose?
money now, and the South African,
You know,
South African
we
woman
loose?
now,
is not
now
strategic.
it's
Yeah.
a thing.
So are
South
we
African
women
woman
lose.
is not strategic. A Nigerian
I feel
woman
like
is taught from a young age
everybody has
to be
their
strategic.
loose side. We don't, even those ones that you think that you can't reach them, they've got their loose side. But
No,
no,
but there is something that
I said some black South Africans will put South Africa in trouble. This is what I was talking about. You guys went and be starting those petty games with Nigeria. How now they feel now? Now that even your government is begging Nigerians to stop. Sometimes Nigerians just overlook your foolishness. It's not because they cannot handle you people proper. Just because they don't have time for your drama. So they will just leave you people to the white. Because the white are already handling you people proper. You guys went on Twitter and take it for a joke to other boats in Nigeria. You are playing this stupid game with a population 4 times yours. Black South Africa on another land. Now Nigerians order all the boats in South Africa and send it to one location. Left South Africans stranded with very expensive ride that they cannot book. And now some
Well, guys, not only is Chidimma Vanessa Miss Universe Nigeria first runner-up in this year's competition, but she has also been crowned Miss Universe Africa and Oceania. Remember, guys, from each continent, they selected the overall winner. So there she is, being crowned Miss Universe Africa and Oceania. Miss Universe Finland was selected as Miss Universe Europe and Middle East. Miss Universe Peru was selected as Miss Universe Americas. Miss Universe Philippines was Miss Universe Asia. And then, of course, Miss Universe 2024, who is Denmark. Congratulations to both of these queens. Miss Universe Nigeria, I think she surprised each and every one of us. Miss Universe Philippines, one of my favorite contestants from this year's competition. I was very surprised that she didn't make it in the top 12, but nonetheless, guys, she did well. Both of them did exceptionally well.
Honestly, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that South Africa and Nigeria have such main character syndrome. It's basically like two bulls in one growl. I don't know, is the name growl? I only know the name Growl. Like where you put cows, you know the place where you put cows? Yeah, but that's not important. But I think you are basically dealing with two countries that in Africa, the top three countries that are on Twitter, for example, is Egypt, Nigeria, and South Africa. Those countries have the most active users on Twitter and on TikTok, I think, in Africa. So, guys, I understand there's too many of us in one space. We are bound to catch each other. My thing is, before I go into any other the negative things, guys, we need to be honest. I think South Africa and Nigeria are influential forces, especially in the last 4 years. For South Africa, Amapiano has been literally has put South Africa on the map. Everyone, like literally, I'm in Asia right now, and whenever I tell people from South Africa, like they're like, "Oh, Mapiano, Mapiano." It's like that's the first thing. It's either Amapiano or Tyler. So people actually do think about South Africa. We're popular. It's gotten so big that it's even in where are these countries? I've seen it in America, I've seen it in the UK, I've seen it so many places where people are actually enjoying Amapiano. And hopefully you don't hear the background noise. But Afrobeats is also huge. Afrobeats is also huge. But honestly, I don't know. I've seen a surge in Afrobeats, especially in certain clubs, but not most South African clubs. But let's be honest, also Afrobeats, very big. My thing is this. My thing is this. I understand why South Africa and Nigeria don't get along. I feel that where South Africa lags, Nigeria is basically winning. For example, Nigerian people in Africa, Nigerian people travel the most. And I understand it's because of the political situation, but Nigerian people explore worlds the most. Girl, tell me why anywhere I go, like literally, I'm in Asia now, and you'll find someone who's half Nigerian here. I'm not surprised when people telling me that Nigeria, there's even like Nigerian kids in. I wouldn't be surprised. Antarctica. I wouldn't be surprised if you found a Nigerian kid in Antarctica. But it's just one thing that I've noticed about Nigerians. They are willing to take a risk. They are willing to travel. They are willing to see the world. And honestly, I think as South Africans, we are comfortable. South Africa is comfortable compared to other countries. Girl, you need to travel. First of all, you need to travel. And after traveling, I have realized South Africa is actually very comfy. Like, we have so many advancements, especially when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to policy. I think once you travel, you'll understand. You'll understand. I think the best way to explain it, I feel like Nigerians are travelers. They see the world. The situation in Nigeria, I don't know. I've never been to Nigeria, but from what I've seen online and the news, Nigeria politically has its own issues. But I think South Africa and Nigeria, when it comes to politics, we are similar in some ways. Like, for example, we are both being bullied. Girl, I shouldn't be laughing. But we're both being bullied by geriatric patients. We're being bullied by people who are supposed to be in retirement. Like, why is it that in South African politics, the people who are still running and still controlling policy and still governing us are old people? Like, when I tell you these people, most politicians in South Africa are older than my parents. And I'm just like, oh girl, like just retire. Like, please, just retire. That's my only gripe with South Africa. And it's very I think it's a similar situation in Nigeria where you have people who are of retirement age and they still want to bully young people. They still want to treat us like kids who don't know what they're doing. And honestly, for me, it's like, Girl, I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about politics, but that is really something that annoys me, that till this day we still have people who are not supposed to be retired. As someone who has studied political sciences, I understand. Like, for me, I understand why South Africans and Nigerians don't get along. One of the most recent scandals that really showed a very dark side to this beef was the Chidimma situation and the ball situation. But let me start with the Chidimma situation. I honestly, before we go any deep into the deep, I'm not going to go into deep layers actually. This is a conversation. The Chidimma situation for me is just it was basically something that has always been boiling underneath. I don't think people in South Africa don't like Chidimma. I believe the issue with South Africa is that we're all in a small pond as people who were previously institutionally excluded from opportunity. And what's happening is the government is bringing other people into the country. It's allowing other people into the country illegally, obviously. And we're basically in the same pond fighting for the same resources. And while the other people in the big ponds or in the sea are looking at us and laughing, they're like, oh, look at them fight for scraps. Because that's what's happening. Like, the reason why I understand South Africans get accused of being xenophobic, we're in a small pond and we are fighting for resources that we were promised. We were promised that go to school, get an education, graduate, you will get a job. But then to get a job, there's other issues involved, there's layers. There's like, oh, you need to have 5 years experience, you need to have a car, you need to work here. There's so many things that they put into place where it's like, guys, now that we have entered as Gen Zs and millennials, now that we have entered the job market, you guys are changing the rules. So for me, it makes sense why the beef with corruption, with everything that has happened, is frustrating, because we were promised a dream that has never come to fruition. And then for the few Nigerians who we see on South Africa, I think the reason why we notice these Nigerians is because they are flashy. Anything that is flashy, you will notice the most. And girl, I don't know where they get their money. I'm not gonna, like, some of the Nigerians in Cape Town and in Sandton, I don't know where they get their money, and I'm not gonna make accusations. You'll figure it out. We already know that there is, in some cases, money that is gotten through very illegal means. And there are actually also Nigerians who genuinely work hard. I went to university with a few who genuinely have legitimate degrees, who have work, who do legitimate work in South Africa. So the reason why there is a bit of frustration with Nigerians in South Africa is because the Nigerians who are in South Africa, they come to South Africa and they live a life of luxury, of opulence, you see it, like, Nigerians in South Africa's pop culture, they are one of the mainstream topics. Like, they are connected to baddie culture, they are connected to club culture. And I'm not trying to say that Nigerians were the first people to introduce hypergamy or women wanting to date rich men. It's always existed throughout time. Sugar daddies have always existed. But now what Nigerians have done in South Africa, I feel they've introduced a new dating style. They've introduced something different. They've basically made the stakes higher. Long ago, in the early 2000s or the 90s, if you had a sugar daddy, he would just buy you like a few items, nothing fancy, nothing luxurious, but with baddie culture. And I feel like baddies and Nigerians in South Africa are so connected with baddie culture. I personally feel like because Nigerians buy these women expensive gifts, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, all these expensive luxury brands, they've made dating seem more expensive. And I say seem more expensive because people use social media influencers and baddies as an example of women's dating style. Yes, baddies are influential in how we want to date, but that is not the typical South African woman. The typical South African woman, not every South African woman is dating Nigerians. Let's get that out there. But I'm just saying that how Nigerian men date has had an impact on dating culture as well in South Africa. Like, people who were not even into the baddie lifestyle have certain expectations, and there's almost like this homogenous idea of what love is supposed to look like. So to a degree, I understand why South African men are frustrated. There's huge frustrations. There's frustrations because how are these people coming here and making money? And we did the right thing. We went to school. We did all the right things, but we're not living like them. We're not balling. The frustration comes from the geriatric patients in politics. It comes from the fact that unemployment is high. It comes from the fact that we at the bottom are fighting for resources. And then here comes this group. I think one of the reasons why it's easier to attack other Africans or people do it, it's because they are the closest thing to us. They are more accessible. We engage in the same communities. We do the same activities. We are very in close proximity. We live with each other. So it's like, oh, these visitors came to South Africa, but they are living nicer than us. Or these visitors came to South Africa and they are having a little bit, we're basically fighting for the same piece of chicken. It feels like that. I'm not a financial analyst. I don't know, economic analyst. What do they call those people? Girl, I don't know. But the frustration makes sense. It's like we have already so frustrated with how dating is and how the economy is. And then now you've already shifted the dynamics of dating where average people want to date like celebrities, because with some of the ballers in the country, they've made it seem like dating is this luxury experience, and dating for poverty makes sense. Girl, I'm not trying to be mean, but dating for poverty makes sense. It makes sense. Dating because of poverty or to alleviate poverty makes sense. Because tell me why it's so hard to get a job in South Africa. It shouldn't be this hard. I know in the early 2000s when I was a kid and I used to see my sisters and cousins go to work, it wasn't this hard. I mean, getting a job was hard, but not as hard as it is now. So I understand why some of the girls, not every South African woman, because I hate the stereotype of South African women as where they are portrayed as promiscuous. That is a generalization. You date baddies and you think baddies are a representation of South Africans. No. But my frustration is I understand why people date for poverty or they date because of poverty, is because, guys, in my life, there's no money. There's no money. Even if when you are working, I have worked 3 different jobs in South Africa, and most of them were in the academic space. And one of the reasons why I'm even abroad is because most times, if you studied anything in the humanities, apparently our government thinks humanities is useless. Humanities degrees are useless. Everyone focuses on STEM. But I think, honestly, we need more critical thinkers. I don't think humanities is ever going to be out of style. I think more people need to be critical thinkers, especially now with how lazy people are in understanding information and gathering information and having just a broader view of the world. We need more information. And it makes sense in a country where social and economic inequality, whereby people who are this color make more money than the natives. It makes, or they control the economy. We know, I'm not going to even racialize it, but we already know who has the most money in South Africa and who controls most of the money in South Africa. So it is frustrating when you see, I feel like, in my opinion, South Africans target other Africans because we're in the same pond. We share the same living spaces. We share the same activity spaces, whether it be clubs, whether it be like we're in each other's faces all the time. So it makes sense. It's like, think of crabs in a bucket. They're stepping on each other, trying to get out, using each other as a ladder. It makes sense. It's basically like, guys, we don't have food. And then you bring more visitors to eat our tiny food that we have left. That is how it feels. I'm not saying xenophobia is not justified. Honestly, no. I don't want people to accuse me of xenophobia. No, xenophobia is never justified. And I understand when even Nigerians point out that South Africans don't attack the people who are oppressing us the most economically and structurally. We attack other Africans, and that's a fair point. But I say this to say it makes sense. So I don't want to make this an exhaustive list, but even the idea of South African promiscuity frustrates me. Yes, Nigeria has more young people who are married than South Africa. It definitely does. And I think it's because Nigeria is a little bit more It's more conservative. It's more conservative than South Africa. And there's more religious practice. So it makes sense why more young people in Nigeria are married compared to South Africa. And South Africa is a little different. We have certain benefits. Our constitution, I'm not trying to boast, but the constitution in South Africa is amazing. The constitution is amazing. But yeah, I want us to think about these issues. Think about dating culture. Think about pop culture. Think about the economy. Think about the politics. There is a bigger picture. There's a bigger theme with the hate that we all have for each other online. Because in real life, girl, I feel like South Africans and Nigerians are not that, like, we actually get along a little better in real life, in my experience. In real life, yes, we get along. But online, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, it makes sense in terms of why we don't get along online. Online serves as a diary. People don't write diaries anymore. So the online space serves as a diary for people's mental vomit. Like, people can say anything that comes to mind without any filters, especially on Twitter. So people will express their frustrations. I'm not saying it's justified. I'm not saying it's good. And I'm not saying that South Africa is better than Nigeria or Nigeria is better than South Africa. I just think each country has its own strengths and its own weaknesses. And why am I making this video? I'm making this video because I want us to think about the broader picture. What is happening in our countries that is creating this much frustration? It's the fact that even through adversity, Africans, let me talk about Africans in general, but focusing on Nigeria and South Africa, even through adversity, even through our economic struggles, we are happy people. We are hustlers. We are creators. We are creatives. We are talented. We are full of life. We are vibrant. And we want better. The most common theme is South Africans and Nigerians. Underneath it all, we all want a better life. So it makes sense. We want to be recognized. We want to be seen. We want accolades. We want Africa to be seen in a different light. That's how I see it. So it makes sense. Underlying this, a deep frustration that is misdirected that I think could be unpacked, but I didn't want to make an exhaustive video where I go into deep analysis. Girl, I know some people don't. I know some people don't want to listen to essays, and I'm not going to do that to you. But either way, let me know what you think. And if you liked this video or you have an opinion, leave it down below and leave a green heart in the comment section. And I look forward to seeing you again, darling. Bye-bye.